Welcome to Coffee and History, a conversation with Alabama Heritage. We are your hosts. I'm Rebecca Mender.
I'm Susan Reynolds.
And I'm Caroline Gazera McKenzie.
Join us as we sit down with some of the most fascinating figures in the community as we explore the captivating tales of Alabama, stories that educate, inspire, and we hope entertain. We are thrilled to have you here with us.
And for today's Did You Know segment, where we have an interesting fact about Alabama that you may be new to our listeners or even us, I was thinking about coffee. Is that correct?
I don't know. I'm always thinking about coffee.
I'm always thinking about coffee.
Do you know?
But
I forgot
Because
my coffee, so I probably won't be thinking at all.
Oh, that's okay.
we
That's
will
okay.
fix that. We shall fix that later, Susan.
That's okay.
Anyway.
But when you were thinking about your coffee, what fun fact did you find for us
Yes.
today?
So did you know in 2021, the state of Alabama lifted its ban on teaching yoga or other meditation practices in K through 12 schools?
Wait, first of all, I didn't know they banned it. First of all, I didn't even know it existed in schools because when I was in school, we just went out for recess.
Okay, but your children probably would have been been
No.
affected by this because in
My
1993,
My kids weren't born then.
okay, but in 1993, that's when the state banned yoga in K through 12 education, and then Governor Ivey in 2021 lifted the ban, and the ban was based on concerns about its origins in Hinduism.
I remember when that happened, and there's so many great studies about children benefiting from learning breathing techniques that calm them down and meditation techniques. So I'm glad it's back.
I am too.
I think that's just kind of weird that we even had it in the first place. I mean, why would you ban anything that's a benefit? Well, okay, that's a bad question.
People do all their own things. You know how it is.
Welcome to the state of education. That's a whole nother conversation.
But I thought it was just interesting being the non-Alabamian to learn about, that yoga was banned.
So I guess they banned it before my kids were born.
Yes, but
and
your
then
kids
when they
would've-
brought it back, I don't think they were doing that in their school because they went to a private school. So they were probably doing other things. They were playing sports and stuff. So I don't think we had yoga. I really don't. I'll ask them, though. It's a great conversation starter for my kids. Forces me to call my kids.
Hey, sometimes your kids appreciate being called. Just saying. Love you, Mom.
I'll do that today, and I'll let you know what I'll find out.
Oh, good. But our guest today may have some more insight into yoga in Alabama. So we're excited to introduce Exa Johnston Skinner to our show. Exa is the executive director of the Kentuck Arts Center and Festival in Northport, Alabama. She stepped into the role in January 2024 after nearly a decade of service to the organization in various capacities, including program manager, director of operations, and deputy director. Before joining Kentuck, she worked with the Children's Hands-On Museum in Tuscaloosa as the education coordinator. She is also a certified yoga instructor. Fun fact of the day.
There you go.
Let's welcome Exa.
Yay! Hey, Exa.
Hey, Rebecca.
So, first of all, I got to talk about your name. I've always loved your name, and I had to look it up to see what it actually meant. First of all, it's like the 900th most popular name. So it's not a very popular name. So that's really super cool to begin with. But I think what it was saying is that it means adorned with beauty and grace. And so I think that's perfect for somebody like you because, first of all, grace, because you are, a yoga instructor, and then beauty, you're the executive director of, Kentuck Arts. And so I think that's like the perfect person for that role.
Wow, I did not know the meaning behind my name. It's
See,
actually it's a family name.
We're
so-
all here for fun facts. Well, when I was looking it up, it said that it was one of the states that it was most popular in was Alabama. So
in the early 1900s,
Yeah.
which is when my great grandmother got the name.
I think that's cool.
Really
The
cool.
only other X that I knew was like Exene Cervenka from the band X, and you may be too young for that. But yeah,
She's like, yeah, I am.
Me too.
Okay.
Me
well,
too, Exa.
Well,
It's
look
all
it
good.
up. So some of you Gen Xers out there, you'll know who the band X is. They actually played here in Tuscaloosa. But anyway, so I digress with my age. So she mentioned, Caroline, said that you were a certified yoga instructor. I don't know if you still are, but how did you even get involved in doing yoga?
So when I worked at the Children's Museum, Yoga Bliss was right next door, and I grew up always taking different kinds of dance and ballet, and so I love stretching and I got into yoga when I was in college and working at the Children's Museum because, it was right next door. So a few of us that worked at the Children's Museum would go to Yoga Bliss.
Nice.
And then my friend Kisa, who had worked with me at CHOM, she ended up buying that business. And she needed yoga instructors. And so I signed up and I did the training and I taught for about a year. But then I went back to school to get my master's degree. So I couldn't do all of it at one time.
Right.
So,
I
but
get
I still
that.
practice every day.
Well, I can only imagine working at the Children's Hands-On Museum where the average age of the visitor is what? Probably.
Oh, I would say maybe 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So dealing with 7-year-olds all day, every day, I think I would want to go to yoga also. So it's probably either that or a bar. And I think there is a bar across the street. So, there's a brewery across the street, a yoga place next door. So I think it works probably that's pretty good marketing right there.
Yeah, I think they actually have yoga in the brewery across
They
the
do.
street. So.
I think they do. Yeah.
Wow.
One-stop shop.
I know upstairs you'll see people with their yoga mats walking upstairs, and I'm sitting there at the bar going, "Oh, y'all have fun. I'm gonna have another beer." So
There's a certain order you have to do that in, too. You have to really plan ahead.
Seriously. Have you ever done the goat yoga?
I haven't. I grew
really
up in
want to.
South Alabama on farms and stuff, and so I really look at goats and chickens and cows as like they're livestock.
Exactly.
They're not props for yoga.
So what part of
wild.
Alabama were you from?
Andalusia.
Oh, okay. And
Okay.
what brought you to Tuscaloosa?
I went to school at UA. My undergraduate degree was in theater and creative writing. So, yeah, and the Blunt program actually is one of the reasons that I chose to come here.
Nice. Yeah. My daughter, she was part of the Blunt program and only lasted for a year. Because I think one of the things that was really important with the Blunt program is you guys have like your own dorm.
Mm-hmm.
And so being part of that community is really important. And my daughter, she lived at home because we live right down the street, the university's in my backyard. And so it's a great opportunity for students who can stay together, live together, study together, and that kind of thing. So anybody who's interested in that, they should look up the Blunt program because I do recommend it for those who, especially if you're from out of town, helps you to build your community.
Absolutely. And for people who kind of learn differently than traditional methods, it's a lot more discussion-based, writing-based
Right.
than it is test-taking.
A little smaller groups too.
Oh, definitely.
Yes, definitely. And that's good because it's like if you're from a small town and you come to the University of Alabama, this behemoth of a institution, then everybody, you don't want kids to get lost. You don't want them to fall through the cracks. And it's really nice to have different programs like that where people can come, have the smaller groups, because the honors college is like that as well. When my son was part of that, and just knowing that they can have smaller groups, little cohorts with discussion classes, and it just gives everybody an opportunity to find their way in this big campus.
Absolutely. I did honors as well. And I think 15 was the biggest class that we had.
Right.
That's, unheard of at the college level.
Yes, exactly. That's why I fully support it.
Yeah, for sure. So you're the executive director of the Kentuck Arts Center and Festival, which is a huge part of our community. I mean, I've gone to Kentuck since I was a little girl, and I'm much older than you. So, but how have you and your team built the center into what it is today?
So I started at Kentuck in 2015. But, Kentuck has been around since 1971.
Mm-hmm.
And so everything that we are doing now, we really are standing on the shoulders of giants.
Right.
Our founder, Georgine Clark, is a legend in this state with everything that she did, not only with starting Kentuck. She started the Alabama Clay Conference. She worked at the Alabama State Council on the Arts and established the Alabama Artists Gallery there. So, we really were so fortunate to have a founder who wasn't from here that could come here and look at the things that people here had been doing for decades, for generations and generations, and making quilts, taking the rags or the feed bags that from the farm and making quilts, making things to cover their floors and their beds. People who, took discarded farm equipment and made sculptures out of it that they put out in their yard. She really looked at these things as magical and, this high form of art that at the time they were not regarded as that.
Right.
So that's kind of what we think about when we're building our programming, is taking these traditional forms of art and self-taught art especially, and really elevating it to the level that we believe it should be at. One of our main guiding values is art is for everyone. And I think self-taught art, that's why it speaks to so many people, because you don't have to have, a master's degree in art history to understand it. You don't have to know a lot about how it was made, even though that does absolutely enhance your experience.
Yes.
You can really appreciate the story and the artist without having that education about it. Not that I discourage education about the arts, because I love to learn about art,
Right.
and I, everything that we do is to reach people at different levels of understanding and make sure that people, can understand as much about it if they're interested in it, and just connecting it to other things in the community. So, for example, we have art nights every first Thursday of the month in Northport, and we have gallery openings and artist talks. So the artists will come in and talk about why they make their work and how they make it. And, we like to have lots of little things that help connect people who maybe wouldn't go just to an art gallery, like that may not be their first entrance. So things like, working in themes of the natural world. We did a whole year that was about water. And so for one, we had the Natural History Museum come, and they showed a lot of the work that they've been doing on preserving, the species in the Black Warrior River. They came and had like a virtual reality thing where they showed how water travels over land. And then we had a group show of artists who all created work that was about waterways in Alabama.
Was everybody wearing like those, virtual reality glasses?
No, it was actually it was like well, it wasn't virtual reality. It was augmented reality.
I got you.
Sandbox. So it showed the topography in different colors when you moved the sand around, and then you could hold your hands over it, and it would make it rain. And so you could see how water moved across the land, and
that's really
how it
interesting.
changed. Yeah, it was really cool.
Now, one of the buildings in Northport is named after Georgine Clark, and everybody she was a wonderful person in our community. But can you, for our listeners and our viewers, can you describe a little bit about, because you kind of have a compound, I would call it, in Northport, where it's almost like a city block of different buildings and exhibit space, and kind of explain what people might experience when they do come for that. But then you also have now a new facility in Tuscaloosa on this side of the river, where it used to be the old Queen City bathhouse, and now you're using that facility space as well. So can you just explain to a little bit so people would know when they come to the different places what to expect and what they might see?
Absolutely. So in Northport, downtown Northport, we're located on Main Avenue, and our main building, the museum building is what we call it, is a 2-story building that's right on that corner. In fact, it is not even, the building itself doesn't have any right angles on it, because that street isn't a right angle. So everything is at an odd angle, which is so fun when you're trying to hang art. But we love the weird. And so
you love the challenge.
We do. We love the challenge, and we love old buildings. And that building's over 100 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it was actually restored in 2015. It was infested with bats.
Yeah, that was
I remember that.
fun thing.
That was right when I started, when we finished that capital campaign and moved into that building. It was a great time to be there. So in that building, you'll find our gallery shop, which represents about 160 different artists from all over the country. About 60 of those or so are from Alabama. And then also our main exhibit space. So our main exhibit space follows a theme throughout the year. So for this year, our theme is From the Earth. So everything that you see in there throughout the year will be made from natural materials. A lot of them will be harvested by the artists themselves.
Right.
And those shows are either 1 month or 2 months long. And so when you come to art night on the first Thursday of each month, there is one this Thursday from 5 to 8 o'clock. And you'll get to stand in that gallery and hear the artists talk about what and why they make their art. And then also our offices are upstairs in that building, as well as our conference room. And, we keep the door to the upstairs offices open because there's all kinds of art up there. So if you're ever there and you want to wander upstairs, by all means do.
Yeah.
I can't promise my office is going to be clean, but you can come look at it. So that's the biggest building on our campus. And then directly behind that, we have a cob oven. That is, if you don't know what cob is, it's a traditional way of making earthen ovens. So it's made of clay and hay, basically, and some bricks. And we use that to serve pizza on art night, and it's free. And it's all, locally sourced stuff, so it's delicious. And then behind that building, we have our 2 clay studios. So one of those is the Red Dog Potters, and that is a group of about 30 people who are at all different skill levels of creating ceramics. Some of them have just started. Some of them have MFAs. Some of them have been doing it for 30 years. And, there will be someone in there who it's their first week.
And it's really nice, too, because they've given back to the community as well, because my church has the Empty Bowls fundraiser that they have once a year for their food pantry. And the whole thought behind Empty Bowls, which is a national program, is that people come for a meager meal, and then they, it's usually soup and bread and water, and then they have an empty bowl that they can take home with them, and it's made by local potters. And that way, when you're taking, you have this meager meal, you take this bowl home, you're still hungry, and it's just a reminder of how many people in our community go home hungry. And so they've been great in terms of, in previous years, donating pottery that could be used for this fundraiser. So they're really great partners in the community.
They are. I mean, and that's such an important thing to talk about, especially right now.
Yes.
I won't get on my soapbox about that, but, that's support your food pantries.
And then there's also several different galleries there. Also, the one that I love the most, and I think most people who drive by do, has a huge red dog. It's like Clifford the big red dog on the top of the roof. Can you tell us about that dog? Like, who created that, and how did it get on top of that roof? And
so that is Rusty. And it's okay to call him Clifford, though. I think that must be his middle name. That's Rusty, and he was created by an artist from Alabama named Larry Godwin. Larry is he's from, I say, outside of like Selma, and Georgine bought that dog and brought it here.
Do we know how tall it is? It's pretty darn big.
I would say it's probably 6 or 7 feet tall.
Okay.
But it looks bigger when it's on top of a building.
When it's on top of a roof,
It was not originally red. So Larry sculpted this. He grew up with his dad owned a feed and seed store, and so there was an ad on the side of a dog food bag, and that was the dog.
Right.
And so they brought it here. They used to take it out to the festival every year, but I think kids got hurt climbing on it. And so they hoisted it up on top of that building.
Then we dare people to get up there now. But we really don't want them to do it, because I know some high school students that might do it.
No. That's a really old building as well. That was, I think that was Northport's first gas station was in that studio, where that studio is now. So now that's one of our studio artists, Virginia Shirley.
Yeah.
And we have several studios on our campus, painters. We have a metal artist who does a lot of large fabrication stuff. We have a ceramics studio where you can go in, just separate from the Red Dog Potters, where if you just want to go in and try it out. Amy Smoot, who's in there, she's our clay studio manager. You can try that out. We have a letterpress studio. So in the Georgine Clark building, and then also throughout our campus, you'll see these studios. And if you see an artist working in there, you're more than welcome to go up and talk to them.
Oh, I'm sure
they
they
want
love,
you to.
Yeah, they love to talk about their art. So the facility now that you just recently acquired in 2025 is at the, like we said, it's on Jack Warner Parkway, which is near the river, and it's the old Tuscaloosa or Queen City bathhouse. So what can people find when they go there?
Well, first of all, if you've never been in that building, it is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It was designed by Don Buell Schuler, who is a protege of Frank Lloyd Wright, and it's an Art Deco design building. I think there's 42 windows up at the top of it in the cupola, and it is absolutely a dreamy space.
It's a round space. It's a round building, which again, you were saying in Northport is like, we don't have any square, walls. And now you really don't because this facility is round.
I will tell you, that was a challenge finding a hanging system that could go on a round wall. But we did it. And so there you can see our permanent collection.
Okay.
So we had a pretty good permanent collection of the artists who had exhibited at Kentuck, as well as those who'd been studio artists or who had shows at Kentuck. However, this past year, a local collector, Edward Guy, donated the art that he had been collecting for the last 20, 25 years at the festival.
Right.
And it's a beautiful collection.
Nice.
And so there will always be part of that on display. As well as we have some other donors in the community who've really latched onto and realized how important it is to show that part of our history in West Alabama.
And it's also a great event space.
Yes.
Because there is enough space in the center of that building that you can set up chairs. And if there's like an author or an artist who wants to do a presentation, and this past year had Shakespeare in the Park was there. So anytime Shakespeare, I think they usually try to do, and tell me the name of the group.
The Rude Mechanicals.
The Rude Mechanicals. I know Mark Cobb's going to be mad at me for not remembering that. But the Rude Mechanicals do Shakespeare in the Park every year. And I think it's usually the first night they try to do it indoors. So that way everyone can have the opportunity to see it. But then the rest of them should be outside.
Yes.
And so
unfortunately it rained on us a lot this
rained,
year.
So that way it was indoors, and you guys were nice to open up your space to allow him and his crew to come in and do Shakespeare. And I think if anybody's never seen Shakespeare in the Park, you should do that. And definitely we appreciate Kentuck for opening your doors for that.
So I'm actually part of both groups.
Because you have that acting background, right?
But we also have the third Saturday of every month out in the footprint of where the pool was. We have an art market. So it's like a little tiny Kentuck festival, and it's right across from the farmer's market. It's a great time. We have free kids activities that you can come do and meet some local artists.
Yeah, that's so nice.
And I do participate in those with my daughter. And we actually are going to go for one of the classes that is for toddlers.
How fun.
Ashley Chambers is the one who talked to me about that. I think that's her name, correct?
Yeah, we love Ashley.
I love Ashley too. She and I were in Leadership Tuscaloosa together.
Yes. I met her earlier this year. She got me in touch with the person in charge of the program and stuff like that. It's been so much fun to learn about. But I actually drive past Kentuck every morning to drop off my daughter at the sitter. So they walk through the park all the time and just go and look through things. No touching, of course. We're teaching the 2-year-old not to touch. But as I've talked about on the podcast a lot, when I first moved to Tuscaloosa, because I'm not an Alabamian to begin with, one of the first things I was told about was the Kentuck Arts Festival. It was probably, I don't even think I made it out of Bama bound when it was talked about. So that should say something that the Kentuck Arts Festival is being talked about when these students first come into campus. But it continues to amaze me how big the festival has gotten, especially since my freshman year when I was just walking around looking at everything. So how have you sought to, find new artists in the area? I know that the festival is juried, so they have to apply, but what kind of connections have you made to help expand Kentuck's awareness?
So something that we do is we ask the artists who come to the festival, are there any artists that we should be reaching out to?
That's smart.
Yeah, that's...
because they know better than we do.
Yeah.
And then also just we're kind of known in the artist community for having the very best artist hospitality. Like, we really treat our artists like royalty because they're the reason that we're able to have the festival. And so they all talk a lot, and, if they have a good time, everyone will know about it. If they have a bad time, everyone will know about it. And so we have several that will go, when they go to other shows, they'll ask people. And then we, as a staff, we also try to go to as many art festivals as we can and meet, not only artists, but also other art collectors, and make sure that they're coming to our festival so that when our artists are here, they have good sales and they want to come back. And also, things like the art market and having classes that are taught by local artists, really is creating this economy of creativity in our area that I think over the years, Kentuck has been really kind of a backbone of that for the visual arts community, of really, not putting up barriers to people when they want to make a living as an artist, really encouraging that. And we try to do that at all different levels. So in our gallery shop, artists who've never shown anywhere before, you can come in and make an appointment with our gallery shop manager and learn how you sell your work in a gallery. The art market, is great for artists who maybe don't know about how to get a business license or how to set up a tent, or who have not run sales in a square before. It's a great thing to just try and see before you really have to commit to doing a big show like the festival. That's probably the highest echelon is the festival for us.
And that's multiple days. Is it 2 days or 3 days?
The festival's 2 days.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I have to tell you, as a local Tuscaloosan, I'm so glad that it moved to Tuscaloosa from Northport. Now, I am going to 100% say I loved Kentuck Festival at Kentuck Park. It was quaint. There was a lot of beautiful trees. There was so many things to love about that whole outdoor experience. But then when it moved to Tuscaloosa, it's a much bigger park. I think you have a bigger footprint opportunity there. But then I was thrilled because of the accessibility. So when people come into the park in Northport, you're walking and over, tree roots, and it's just the nature of the beast of being in the middle of a park, of a forest, really. And so you have it's flatlands, and you have sidewalks that are made out of like concrete, and there's no tree roots to be concerned of. There's more places, I think, for seating. And so like you were saying, trying to take care of the artists. I've hosted for several years. I've hosted artists. They come to my house, and my house is walking distance to the new park site. And so I feel like, just in listening to them, especially that first year, they were all so complimentary. And they thought, move in and move out, and I don't have to put my truck here, and I can do this. And, there was a lot of positivity about the new space from the artists. But then I've also heard a lot about the community loving it as well. So I know you're going to have your diehards that are going to be like, man, did you really have to move it? I mean, Kentuck Festival should be at Kentuck Park. I mean, it does make sense. But I feel like it's a great opportunity. It's a good opportunity for Tuscaloosa, but it's also an even better opportunity for the festival to be able to, like I said, grow in size. Did you look at that to see, because it's been 2 years here in Tuscaloosa, so have you kind of looked at that to see how much more you want it to grow? Because this is a big field with soccer fields and that kind of thing. So like I said, there's lots of room to grow. So has it grown yet, or are you looking at that to maybe expand? Or is that too early to say?
No, it's there's certainly not a definitive answer because, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, right? But the number of artists that we've been very careful to keep that around the same every year.
Which is about how many?
About 275 to 280 booth spaces.
Wow.
Now, some of those have like 30 people in them, like the Red Dog Potters or the Quilters Guild, I think, has the most. So it's well over 300 actual artists.
Right.
And that's a lot.
Mhm.
It's certainly not the biggest art festival. I think if we increased the number of artists, we'd have to add a day, which I'm not sure we're ready to do yet. But what we have tried to increase is the amenities to the festival goers. So we've added more bathrooms. We've
Right.
added, we've put Kentuck for Kids kind of at the center of the park and really expanded it. So that, all those free kids activities are just right there and super easy to get to and right next to the bathrooms.
Right.
I know
I
all our
appreciate
parents will
that as the
appreciate
mom
that. I
over
know,
here.
right. Can you tell that I have kids? And just really making our music stage and our spoken word stage even better, adding more concessions, adding more to the VIP hospitality tent and the artist hospitality tent. Making sure that we have, this year we partnered with the Tuscaloosa Police Department and Rooted Tuscaloosa to make sure that we had a sensory vehicle in there, so that if you get overloaded, which it's really easy to do at the festival,
Yes.
you can go have a break and just calm down for a minute. We also had a tent on the other side of the park that you could do that in.
Now, the original one in Northport had, did it have 2 stages? One was the spoken word and one was for music.
Mhm.
Was there a third stage, or am I just imagining that?
No, so
Okay,
there
and-
was a small period of time where that spoken word stage was like an acoustic stage.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
But then
That's what I'm
we
thinking.
renamed it after Catherine Tucker Wyndham,
Right.
And because that's where it came from.
Right.
She used to stand under a pine tree and tell ghost stories.
She sure
And
did.
and so did she? So when it's moved to Tuscaloosa, I know there's a big stage there for music, but is the spoken word stage still separate, or is it all combined together?
No, it is separate.
Okay.
So it's, that's one of the things that I love about the layout of this park is that it's so navigable. Like you can very easily tell where you've been. You can very easily tell someone where something is. So, there's the quadrant where we have the music stage. And then next door to that is the quadrant where we have Kentuck for Kids. And then next to that on the other side is the spoken word quadrant.
Right.
So
Yeah, I know, Susan, you and I are young. Wait, we're old enough.
Yeah.
I was going to say we're young enough.
also young
We're,
enough.
Old enough.
we're old enough that we both have seen, Catherine
Many
Tucker
times.
Wyndham. We've gone to Kentuck and watched her, tell stories, and I still have a
Signed
copy of her book signed.
I'm
and
so jealous.
that was such
It
a
was
Same.
wonderful.
yeah, it was a great experience for both
really
of
was.
us.
It really was. I have so many fond memories of Kentuck when I was a little girl, especially, but I love it. But, speaking of stages, we have talked a bit about how you are involved in theater and you have a background in theater and choreography. How did your interest develop in that? And, why did you choose to major in theater, kind of thing?
Well, contrary to what my parents thought, it was not to make them angry.
Solid. Very solid.
It's like, what are you going to do with this degree?
Oh yeah,
You're
that's all I
sticking it
ever
to the
heard.
man.
That's all I ever heard. It was a degree in theater and creative
Yeah.
writing. And and this is something that I tell people when they're young people who are interested in having a career in the arts is I bartended for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you have to be ready to do something like that. You have to be ready to hustle if you're going to have a career in the arts.
Yeah.
Sort of toward the end of my undergraduate degree, I really decided that maybe theater wasn't what I absolutely wanted to do, but I still loved it a lot. So in my work at the Children's Museum, I kind of learned about nonprofit management, but I have always loved being in front of people. I mean, I think my mom tells about when I was 3 years old and she had a dinner party and they'd put me to bed, and I woke up around 10 o'clock or so when they were all having cocktails, and came out in my Dorothy costume and proceeded to stand on top of the fireplace and make everyone listen to me sing Over the Rainbow.
I love that.
I don't think they did, but
Cute though.
I definitely have always liked to be in front of people, and was a dancer and stuff. So
Did your kids kind of share that with you, or?
one of them does.
Okay.
So my son is very theatrical all the time, never turns it off. You can ask Rebecca, they go to church together. So, my youngest, she loves to dance, but does not like the part about being in front of people at all. So who knows? It can change.
Of course, yeah.
Now, I of course I was researching you last week or the other week. I can't remember when. So I got to do lots of creeping on you.
That's internet stalk you.
Yeah, we stalk you. That's what we're saying. Is she's trying to say we stalk
anything that happened before 2008.
Oh,
I am
no.
not responsible for.
That's fine.
You will find no judgment at this table.
Oh no! But the first thing I noticed was your cat, because I am a crazy cat mom, as are. Well, Susan and Rebecca has said she's a crazy dog mom, but it's fine. But you have a cat named Tybalt. Is that correct?
Yes.
After your Shakespeare roots,
Yes. And my dog has been Benvolio.
Oh.
So.
Nice.
I did not. Well, okay, so I got stuck on the cat. Okay, so obviously that was which is Tybalt is a nod to Romeo and Juliet. Is that your favorite Shakespearean play, or which one is?
I think Much Ado is probably my favorite.
Okay.
So good.
I've been in that one twice. And I still love it every single time, and I love to read it. I also really love Taming of the Shrew.
Same.
I know that one gets a lot of there's a lot of weirdness in there that you really have to. It is up for interpretation, but I think that's what's so great about Shakespeare. That's why we're still doing it, is because it is open to interpretation.
Exactly.
Well, he wrote it for modern times. So whatever that modern times might be. So like if you actually perform Shakespeare, wearing, a Hawaiian T-shirt or something.
We did that last year.
I mean, it's like, it's totally appropriate because that's exactly, what he intended for you guys to
Who do you
appreciate.
play in Much Ado About Nothing?
Beatrice. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm definitely.
Wow.
It's
The dream.
being a small company in the Rue Mechanicals, we really, everybody has kind of a type, which is exactly how they did perform Shakespeare originally during his life, is that, that company, and you can look at the plays and kind of tell which actors were in, different roles across plays, right? So that's definitely my type, is the difficult to deal with woman.
I support.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Exa, we've really had a great time talking to you, but we've reached the point where we would kind of want to do a little rapid fire questions. And these aren't hard. They're not scary.
Okay.
I mean, but this is a segment that we call Before We Go. Caroline?
So before we go, let's see what your answers will be. So what is your favorite emoji?
The blushing face.
Oh, that's a new one for us. I like that.
Who would you like to share a meal with, and they can be alive or dead?
It's okay if you need to say Shakespeare.
I mean, yes, Shakespeare for sure. Okay, Shakespeare.
That's fine.
Speaking of food, what's your favorite cuisine?
I just got back from New Orleans, and I would have to say, Cajun is so good.
Oh, yeah, I can't deny.
Do you prefer to text, call, or voice to text?
Call, actually.
Okay, I like that.
It's so funny. Anytime I try to do voice to text, Siri's like, girl, that Southern accent is not working out for you.
Well, Rebecca voiced to text a lot, so that's been a new one for
That's
me.
pretty much all I do.
I do that in the car a lot.
Yeah.
She does it just always, and I'm like, how can you? She throws me off all the time with that. Sorry.
It's called multitasking, but go ahead. But I digress.
Whatever. Okay. So do you prefer hot coffee or iced coffee?
Hot.
Hot. Okay.
Okay.
And last question. What is your favorite time of day to practice yoga?
Early in the morning. I get up around 4:30 or 5 every day.
Oh, my gosh,
Wow.
girl.
So you are a sunrise yoga person.
Yes. Or now, with the time change, before the sunrise.
Minus the goats.
Yes.
No goats.
Absolutely. Hold the goats.
It's a great way to get your day started. I had a brother-in-law who does Chai. I don't know if he still does it, but he did Tai Chi in the morning. And I thought, wow, I really probably should do something like that, but I don't.
I'm not awake enough to do anything physical in the morning. We're just lucky if I roll out of bed without hurting myself.
See, that's why I love it, because by the time I realize what's going on, I'm like, oh, I'm exercising.
Oh my gosh. Well, it does get your circulation going. So there you go. Well, we want to thank our guest, Exa Johnston Skinner, for being on today's episode of Coffee and History, a conversation with Alabama Heritage. You can find podcasts wherever you listen, and you can also watch us on YouTube channel. Don't forget that if you want to subscribe to our magazine, we are a quarterly history magazine, and you can just log on to alabamaheritage.com. Until next time, thanks for listening. But first, I think I need more coffee. Bye everybody.
everyone.
Bye.